As promised, the centaurs galloped to the dark forest where they left us, warning us of the peril ahead. The forest canopy allows slivers of moonlight to pierce through. Draven scouts ahead, stepping from one patch to another, avoiding the brightest spots. Sensing danger, he stops, turns around and points to the ground. Cobwebs. We adjust our path accordingly. Valerian armor protests, joints groaning as he bends low. He envies the rogue's leather-clad agility, but duty compels him forward. I study the nature around us and notice that there was no sound of life. The webs seemed to have been spun by giant spiders, but I could not recognize the species. As we venture further into the forest, we begin to hear a chirping sound. From the shadows, 8 eyes, each the size of a silver coin, fixate on us. They gleam with hungry intelligence, dissecting our every move. The spider lunges, a nightmare on 8 legs. Its fangs drip venom, and its mandibles click hungrily. The paladin meets its gaze, unyielding. Fear has no place in his heart. The halberd sweeps down, a defensive arc. The spider's hairy legs skitter back, but it's relentless. The paladin's breath mingles with the forest's damp chill. The spider's bite pierces the paladin's armor, a searing pain. The venom courses through his veins, and he staggers. The world blurs, and he fights to stay conscious. Draven further ahead is ambushed by another spider. Sensing the imminent danger, I cast a spell that enhanced Valerian's speed and agility, making him swift as the wind. With a battle cry, he thrusts. The blade pierces the spider's exoskeleton, sinking deep. Venom sprays, a toxic rain. The spider falls dead. Valerian dashes to help Draven, who was trading blows with another spider. I cast another spell, shooting 2 rays of frost at the remaining spiders, freezing one of them and missing the other. Draven managed to stab the spider next to him, and Valerian finishes it off with a divine strike. Valerian then moved to the last spider, finally cleaving it in half with his halberd. After the battle, we searched the area and found a bandit camp with corpses of bandits and spiders. In a backpack, we find gold pieces, 2 rings and a dagger. We then proceeded towards a hill. At the crest, we saw thin tendrils of smoke rising from an outpost chimney, a promise of warmth and companionship, a safe haven deep in the dark forest. As we arrive at the outpost, we are greeted by a man called Elijah. After sharing introductions, we follow Elijah, our boots crunching on fallen leaves. We enter a tavern, a haven of warmth and flickering hearths. Joel, the innkeeper, stood behind the polished counter, wiping a mug with practiced hands. His eyes darted from face to face, measuring each newcomer. I, with my crimson robes trailing like flames, approached the counter. "Good sir," I purred, as my gaze lingers on Joel's rugged features. "We seek shelter and respite. 2 rooms, perhaps." The innkeeper's wife materialized from the shadows. Her apron was starched, her expression unyielding. She had seen too many travelers, too many fleeting romances. "Joel," she snapped, "don't dally. The hearth needs tending." Valerian, ever the diplomat, stepped forward. His armor gleamed, and his smile was as bright as the morning sun. "Madam," he said, inclining his head, "your husband's establishment is renowned. Surely a few whispered words won't harm anyone." Her eyes softened and she sighed. "Very well," she conceded, "but keep your whispers to a minimum." I leaned closer to the inner keeper, my lips brushing his ear. "2 rooms," I murmured, "and perhaps a bottle of your finest mead." He blushed, torn between duty and desire. "For you, my lady," he stammered, "anything." And so, my silver tongue worked its magic. Joao agreed to 2 rooms at a price that left even Draven, usually immune to such matters, impressed. As we enjoyed the festive mood of the tavern, Valerian, with a wink, promised the innkeeper's wife a tale of valour and love by morning. Old Valerian, ever the gracious host, offered drinks to the weary guests. Tankards clinked, and tales flowed like meandering streams. Elijah, with hands that had seen both battle and bandages, tended to our wounds, a silent guardian in a world of secrets. Around the hearth the locals gathered, a patchwork quilt of lives woven together by fate. They spoke in hushed tones, their eyes darting toward the door as if expecting shadows to materialize. The undead, they whispered, plagued their nights, their origins shrouded in mystery. Were they vengeful spirits or cursed remnants of forgotten battles? No one knew. And then, Jane, the innkeeper's daughter, stepped forth. Her eyes held the wisdom of the forest, and her voice trembled like leaves in the wind. Valerian, she said, near the tavern lies a waterfall. Its waters once healed wounds and mended broken hearts. But now they are tainted, less potent, less pure. Undead prowl the nearby woods, and spiders weave webs of malevolence. The forest itself has turned. Valerian exchanged glances with me and Draven. We were sent by Greentree, the reclusive druid, bearing scrolls that whispered of ancient magic. The locals leaned in, their breaths held. Greentree, they murmured, a name spoken in reverence. Middle's Grove, someone dared to utter. The room fell silent, as if the very air held its breath. The town, once a beacon of hope, now lay in darkness. No news reached the outpost, only rumours of wailing spirits and crumbling walls. And at its heart stood the church of Miliki, with its sacred relics. We offer our aid, Valerian declared, to uncover the source of this malevolence, to cleanse Middlesgrove and restore its light. Another man approached us, a figure draped in wealth and arrogance. His eyes bore the weight of countless bargains struck. The noble's gaze shifts to Valerian, assessing the knight's resolute demeanour. Sir Valerian, he begins, his voice carrying the weight of both urgency and intrigue. You appear more than capable. I have encountered the undead firsthand, and now I extend an offer to you, one that bears both risk and reward. His words hang in the air, a delicate balance between temptation and duty. There exists an ancient artifact, the noble continues, leaning closer as if sharing a forbidden secret. Retrieve it for me, and you shall be handsomely rewarded. Yet Valerian, bound by his unwavering devotion to divine purpose, remains steadfast. His armour gleams, reflecting the flickering torchlight. Noble sir, he replies, his tone respectful but unyielding. While I seek no material gain, I implore you to address my fellow adventurers, Elza or Draven. They possess the shrewdness for such negotiations. Elza, the man approaches me, his voice a silk-threaded blade. I have a contract. A relic awaits in Middle's Grove, a prize worth 5,000 gold pieces. My eyes widened. Such wealth could reshape destinies, and I glanced at Valerian, my heart racing. The man extended the parchment, a pact etched in ink and ambition. 1,000 gold in advance, he offered, his palm open. Valerian hesitated. The man's handshake crackled with arcane energy, an unsettling pulse that resonated through bone and sinew. But duty called, and Valerian's grip met the stranger's. The contract was sealed, and the tavern held its breath once more. In that charged moment, as Valerian felt the surge of magic, he glimpsed the shadows shifting. The forest, the undead, Middle's Grove, all connected by threads older than memory. And so, as the hearth's embers waned and the moon climbed its celestial path, we retired to our respective rooms. The wooden floors creaked under our weight, and the scent of pine mingled with the promise of adventure. Tomorrow, Middlesgrove awaits, and with it, the chance to reshape my destiny.